What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source of combat sports. I'm your host, Al the Postmaster Tomorrow. Today, I have a gear review on the Sanabul Funk Strike training gloves. Alright folks, as always, I'm incredibly excited to bring you yet another gear review, and today, no pun intended, I have the funkiest pair of boxing gloves that I own. These are the Sanabul Funk Strike training gloves, and this is also part of the Sanabul mini marathon that I said I'd be doing in a post I made about a week or two ago. Basically, if you watch the channel, I unboxed a whole ton of Sanabul products from September to October, so about 7-8 months ago now. I unboxed the entire Sanabul MMA sparring glove lineup from Prime Day. I bought them myself. They were all on sale, so I got the whole lineup. And then Zach from Sanabul, super cool guy, show him some love in the comments, actually asked what boxing gloves I didn't have yet, and I said, well, I virtually have everything but, say, these, the Funk Strikes. And he basically said, well, let me send you a pair, and please give us an honest review. So as always, just because a big company sent me stuff does not mean that I'm making any money off it. They do not sponsor me when I fight or anything like that. This is a 100% honest review, because at the end of the day, there are three things people better not mess with me, and I would never mess with anyone else with it, and that is my safety, my training, and above all, my money. No one better mess with my money. I get very upset when that happens. So I would never do that with you. They wanted my honest review. So like I said, Zach, if you're watching, I hope you like the honest review. When it comes to these gloves, like I said, they are the funkiest pair of gloves I own. These are the Funk Strikes, and they're also the most unique pair in a lot of ways, in a certain way, actually, out of any glove that I own. All the gloves on these walls and everything else, except for one pair of MMA gloves that shares a lot of different qualities with this. This is not a leather or engineered leather glove. This is a 100% cloth glove, which is absolutely crazy. There are some gloves out there that say they're washable, that's made out of cloth and stuff like that. And in this case, this glove is entirely cloth, which is really crazy on the outside and even the inside. Really, the only parts that aren't cloth is the padding on the inside, which is pretty crazy. But when it comes to this glove too, and I know I just mentioned the washable part, to answer the question right off the bat, I don't know. I don't think I saw it on the website that they are washable. I know that I have teammates that have these that throw them in the washer and they come back looking fine the next time. So with that said, I'm not saying throw them in the washing machine. I know I haven't, but you know, I have two teammates that have Sanabul Funk Strike stuff, and they've done it and it's worked. And also a ton of different Amazon reviews also have people saying, yeah, I throw these in the washer and they feel great. I don't know if that's a great idea because of the padding that's on the inside of it, but I also don't know. So maybe, Zach, if you're watching this, you can comment below and let them know if you would recommend them to throw in the washing machine. I don't trust it, but like I said, that's kind of a cool part about having a cloth glove. It could work definitely a lot better than throwing something that's made out of leather. That would completely ruin the glove. In this case, maybe not. But I'm getting that right out of the way now. That's a big question I get about these gloves, especially when I was like training in them. They're like, can you wash them? I was like, I wash them like I would wash any other boxing glove. But with that said, guys, let's go ahead and go into the review itself. I'm going to talk about the glove that I have here. I believe you can get them in 10, 12, 14, and 16 ounces in a couple different colorways. I got, these are the purple. I think this is the purple haze, they call it, or purple tie-dye is the colorway, and I got them in 16 ounces. That's what Zach sent me. He asked what colorway I wanted. I said surprise me. But yeah, some of the different tie-dye colors are basically all, you know, kind of different shades of tie-dye. Like in this case, like I said, this is more purple. The other ones, you know, are a little bit more pink. Some of them are more like the greenish yellowish colors that you got going on there. So you got about 4 different colors to choose from and a couple different sizes to choose from. 10, 12, 14, and 16 ounces. I go with 16 because my hands are bigger and the other sizes just wouldn't fit. So that's basically what we got going on there. Now, when it comes to the look of the glove, it's kind of hard to really kind of go down to the look itself. But what I do admire is that if they do it just like an actual tie-dye coloration, no one tie-dye design is exactly the same from the others. They can all look similar. So I don't know if they have like printed sheets that have like a set setting to it, or if they actually tie-dye the material and put it on the glove. My wife has a pair of 14-ounce gloves, but they're a different colorway than this, and they do look different from other ones out there. So I am genuinely wondering if they tie-dye the material and then make the glove out of it, which is pretty insane if they do that. But on the back here, you can see we have a white Sanabul logo that pops out really well and blends in at the same time. And you can see that tie-dye coloration kind of looks like a vortex going around the Sanabul logo in the center here. On the side of the thumb, you can see we got like a deep shade of purple right there on the thumb, which is interesting. It's like more ink got through there. And then you get some more really cool colorations going on there. The grip bar also has some nice coloration of that tie-dye, and you get more of that like bluish teal color, and I like that a lot. The piping here is actually white, and that complements the glove pretty well. And come to think of it, I think that actually might... It still feels like cloth, but it also kind of feels like engineered leather a little bit for the piping, which is fine, but it still feels more like a cloth. I still think everything on this glove is a cloth, but this definitely does feel, if you ever have a pair of these, stands out a little bit more from the rest of it. It feels more like that engineered leather type material. You can see down here that it says 16 ounces, and that says Funk Strike right across there. I'll turn it that way, and then I'll turn it that way so you can actually see it. But that says Funk Strike right there, 16 ounces above, so that's actually like printed into the material. Then when we turn the glove around, it says Sanabul right there across the bottom in their futuristic text. The thumb attachment is also that tie-dye material too, which is pretty cool. So they kept pretty good attention to detail, and then the stitching is all double-line stitching that you have in white on the palm of the glove, and you can see that kind of complements the glove pretty good. When you open it up, the Velcro is actually black, the interior strap, and the interior is also tie-dye towards the bottom. Sanabul does that with a lot of their stuff. The actual make of the glove is all tie-dye here until we come here, and that's all black that you can see there. The inside is also black that you got going on there. So overall, the glove looks very cool. It's definitely different from any other glove that I've seen. I don't really know any other brands that do the whole tie-dye thing. And it's kind of funny, Sanabul even puts that they're not into like flashy designs and stuff, and they took a step out of the box here. I think Sanabul makes a lot of really cool looking products, but this is definitely trippy, bro, I guess we could say, but it looks pretty nice. Now, when we talk about the build of the glove, it's very similar to other gloves that Sanabul has, only, like I said, instead of engineered leather on the outside, and that's one thing Sanabul does not do, is use animal products of any kind. This is cloth on the outside. Now, I would say it's just basically a poly cloth is the way I would word it. It's like a poly fabric, and it feels very smooth, and it's, there's a good chunk of it, and it's very stretchy that goes over the padding itself. You can see that there's actually like a nice stretch to it, and that actually will prevent the cloth from ripping or getting small holes in it and stuff like that, which is always good. And that goes throughout the entirety of the glove, even down on the wrist strap, on the palm. It's all that nice cloth material, and even on the inside here towards the bottom, it's that same cloth material. Now, when we talk about the padding, it's just like a lot of other gloves out there that Sanabul uses. It is a type of IMF Tech foam in a lot of ways. It's basically one solid piece of foam that they inject with a type of gel that mitigates impact. Now, it feels very similar to like the Sanabul Essential, very much close to the Sanabul Core as well as far as the padding goes. And I do like how it feels, and it does mitigate impact quite a bit. But it is, funny enough, a little bit stiffer than some of the other gloves. I think definitely the gel in this one probably set in a little bit more, and I did use these a lot. But for me, the cloth always stays one consistent texture, and that is soft. So I think the padding is maybe having a hard time just breaking in as much as the other ones were. And I've been using these for a good chunk of time. But still, IMF Tech foam is a very nice feel to it. It protects your knuckles very much so. That's why a lot of brands use it, is because it's very inexpensive and it keeps people's hands safe. That way they can, not complain that the glove's damaging them. The thumb's also in a nice position as well. Curves right underneath these knuckles here, and it does also stay pretty tight as well compared to some other Sanabul gloves out there, which is surprising. You would think the cloth would be more flexible. It's actually more stiff. But when you go out here, it doesn't come off that much, and it actually is, when I put my hand in, kind of hard to open and close the glove as much as some other gloves that Sanabul has. At the back of the wrist, you can see, unlike the Essential, they actually have a wrist bar here, which usually would mean better wrist support, but it's so top heavy here that it kind of breaks that splint, and there's still so much space here. So that amount is kind of what your wrist is banking on for wrist support. You see how it's gone? A lot of Velcro gloves will do that, but in this case, the wrist is very bendy and flappy, and I don't like that. I can kind of do that. And then the top is so heavy. A lot of Sanabul gloves are a little bit more top heavy, but this is definitely the most top heavy glove for me that they have that I've tried so far. And it bends very much at the wrist. So I don't like the wrist support so much with these gloves. Now when it comes to the actual wrist strap, like a lot of other Sanabul gloves as well, it's attached to the inside, which allows it to kind of curve over to your wrist and attach better. The palm also has some pieces of EVA foam going throughout here, which is like a closed cell foam, kind of what they use in like wrestling mats and stuff to keep your wrist nice and safe. It also helps wrap around your wrist and forearm a little bit more. And the grip bar is kind of made out of that similar material, only it is slightly softer. It feels very similar to the padding itself. It's not stiff, it's not too soft either. When we open the glove, like I said, we can talk about the cloth lining here towards the bottom, but the rest of it is kind of the same material that you get with your Sanabul Essential. It's that poly fabric that you got on the inside, like that nylon type of lining here, and that's basically to keep moisture out of the glove. So when you put your hand on the inside, you can definitely feel it. It's not so baggy on the inside, but for me it is definitely a little bit tighter on the back of my hand and my knuckles, and it just feels like one solid brick on your hand. It does not feel that soft at all. The Velcro strap is also a little bit smaller in width, and it snaps to the inside here, and you can see that we have another bar on the back to kind of stabilize your forearm. But like I said, my wrist, because of how top heavy the glove is just draped down past a natural punch position. So if I put my fist in the natural punch position, my knuckles should line up here. Instead, look how my finger just curves up. That's where you're basically punching. It's like asking you to punch on the back of your hand. And that does happen, believe it or not. And that will snap your wrist right down, which is very interesting. I don't necessarily like that so much. It's very tight on the back of my hand compared to other Sanabul gloves, and it's very stiff. And I've used these just as much as I have the other ones to break them in, give them enough time, spar with them, hit bags and pads with them. And overall, just hitting anything with these just hasn't really made the padding that much softer for some reason compared to the other gloves that they have that broken very easily. It's not so hard, but it's not the softest thing. I definitely wouldn't want to sleep on it, let alone get hit by it. But overall, it just feels kind of bulky on the back of my hand. You can see the material kind of goes too far outside of the hand. There's not a whole ton of room on the inside, and it's just very stiff. So getting grips with it isn't the best. It's not the worst glove I've ever had. You can definitely open it, but I'm straining my hand to keep this glove open right now. To grab wrist, to grab the back of the arms. You can do it, but it's not a strong grip at all. I do not like clinch work with these gloves. They're definitely more for me of like a punching glove for boxing, I guess is the way I would word it. The thumb is in a decent position though, I will say that. I do like the thumb position. It tucks right behind. I've never smashed my thumb when I punch with these, so that is a positive feature. But you can just see, like, I don't know if the camera shows it, but like looking at it from this angle now, it just looks like it's a clunky made glove on my arm, and I'm just not a fan of how it feels. So with that said, let's go ahead and go into the bag work, and then we'll come back with my final thoughts. So right off the bat, when you use these gloves, you'll notice that they have the same knuckle dampening as every other Sanabul glove that you're going to have. So I'm able to really hit the bag as hard as I want. But my back of the hand is very uncomfortable, and the whole entire glove itself is cramped. Also, when it comes to clinch, the gloves do slide off a little bit more because it's cloth. But overall, the weight distribution is a little bit more towards the front than a lot of other gloves out there. So you are actually going to kind of feel a bit of a rebound when you punch, and it's a nice recoil. Overall, they do good on the bag. So obviously they're called the Funk Strike because they look funky. You got all that nice tie-dye stuff coming at you. And I think the other thing you're going to notice, besides the smell coming at you, because they are cloth, they do retain scent very easily, is just the cool patterns. And on top of it, when you're getting hit by these, you can't help but appreciate the funky gloves that are coming at you. I think Sanabul did a really cool design here. Just wish the function of the glove was a little better. Alright folks, so my final verdict for these Sanabul Funk Strike boxing gloves. In short, I don't really like them too much. There are just a couple things about the glove that sticks out to me that I don't gel with, and I wonder if it's more of a me thing compared to a Sanabul thing. But I out of the gloves that I've tried from Sanabul, these are probably my least favorite. I really don't like these. They're pretty... I like them less than the Sanabul Lab series that I had in a lot of ways, but the one saving grace of this is that these are only $35 compared to almost $200, and that's why I don't knock them so much, because for the scoring that I'm going to give them at the end, if they were like anything over 50, I'd give them a 2 out of 10 to give you an idea of how much I really did not enjoy using these. And like I said, it's just a me thing. Obviously, it's my opinion on the whole channel, so if you like these gloves, comment below and tell me I'm an idiot, but I really just didn't enjoy these, and like I said, I'm giving you a 100% honest review here in that I don't like them at all. Not to say I wouldn't recommend them to some people, but I just didn't like them. And to give you another ideas, I'm thinking maybe I had like a weird batch of these, but I have a teammate that has virtually the same pair of these, and they felt the same to me. He loves them, and I don't know why, but he loves them. And then my wife has another pair that she bought before I bought her actual first pair of professional boxing gloves when we first started dating. And she had the Funk Strikes beforehand, and when I gave her the professional pair, because she thought that these were great at first, and I gave her the professional pair, she was like, oh, like, so this is what a good glove is supposed to feel like, and she didn't get it until that. And I said, yes, that's exactly what they're supposed to feel like, whereas these, not so much. Now, I want to kind of go into the things that I don't like first, and then talk about the positives. And let's start out with the first one for a beginner, right? Especially if a beginner went to go buy these gloves. The maintenance on these gloves for me is a hassle. They're a pain. And the reason why is because you have a complete cloth outer shell. It's not like getting the Sanabul Essentials, right, which is all vinyl. And the thing is, you're going to have beginners out there that won't even do their job of cleaning these, which is as easy as taking a disinfecting wipe and wiping it off and wiping the inside off and keeping the glove clean, smelling nice and everything like that. And that's because it's basically wiping plastic off is what really the vinyl is, okay? Now you take cloth. And what I tell people when they get gloves like these or any type of cloth glove is imagine that you're going to wear the same shirt, right? Let's say you train 3 days a week. Imagine you wear the same shirt for 3 days a week without washing it. What's going to happen? It's going to smell like your sweat and body odor, and you don't want that. So these gloves for me, even now after cleaning them a couple times, and I've put rounds in with these things. I've had bags, pads, I've sparred with them. I've done complete weeks of training sessions in them as well, just like I have with all the other gloves that I test. And they still have a slight scent to it. Now, like I said, my teammate that loves these said that he loves them. The big plus for him is that he can throw them in the washing machine. Now, like I said, I did not see that on the website. I didn't see that on Amazon in the item description. I do see people in the Amazon reviews saying that they love it because they can throw it in the washing machine. I personally did not see that unless I'm blind and missed it, but I did not see that you could throw these in the washing machine. So I'm not recommending that you do that, but it's worked for my teammate and the gloves are still in pretty decent shape. But with that said, they smell bad, you know, very quickly. And even when I do the way that I clean my stuff, you can still wipe these down with a disinfecting wipe. You can still use disinfecting spray to get the glove clean. But for me in general, it's just the maintenance on these gloves is a pain. Also, as far as the big drawback for safety of this glove is that it's so top heavy that it kind of eliminates the wrist support for me. Just to give you an idea, a lot of gloves will do this, right? But that's the wrist support that you have there, meaning that there is none. And it doesn't even snap back that fast. If I let go of it, it snaps back a little bit, but when I go here, it doesn't really stabilize stuff. And usually you want a glove that's, I mean, look how much that droops. You want a glove that tries to stabilize and balance in the center as best as you can. But at the moment I'm keeping the glove up, I'm in the center of the glove, right? If we're saying like a rough estimate with my fingers spread like this, the center of the glove, or even keep them together, it should not just do that. Okay, it should usually try and stay as balanced as possible. Usually balanced gloves means that the protection is as equal in the base as it is towards the front. There are some gloves that are obviously top heavy, like a big culprit, or puncher's gloves like Cleto Reyes. They're a bit more of a top heavy glove, and that's because of the material that they use. But also the base of the glove wraps around your wrist and doesn't fall off like this one does. And it has better wrist support for me than these do. Now these do have, you know, your basic wrist bars at the bottom to splint the wrist, but you can see that it splints a little bit lower than I'd like it to. You'd like it to splint realistically where the padding meets the wrist. And the reason why you want that to happen is so it can hug around your wrist and basically stop any type of injury from happening. And that's basically not what it's doing here. The other part is that the bottom part of the padding itself bows out when you curve it this way. And I don't know if you can see that, and that might be the biggest nitpick, but this is how far I go with these things. Watch this part of the glove here. When it's up, it's completely straight. When we bow it out, it bows out a lot, and it sticks out, and it comes at a weird curved angle, so it's not going to really hug around your wrist and keep it stabilized. That's a big no-no for me. So the wrist support for this glove actually for me is not that good. The other part about it is the Velcro is a little bit weaker than I wish it was. There are some Sanabul products I've had where the Velcro has been weak or the stitching comes out. The Sanabul Essential for me actually has better Velcro than these. But when we go ahead and we put our hand on the inside of the glove here, the other thing that I immediately notice when I put my fingers in, and I do have big hands and big palms, big fat meaty palms, but it's tight around my fingers already right here when I put it in. When I put it in all the way, the back of the hand is rough, and yes, I do wear hand wraps for those that ask, but it's even rough on the back of my hand wraps. And though I will admit myself, I have some sensory issues with that, but it's still kind of rough on the back of the hand. It kind of feels like throughout that nylon padding that you can feel like, it's almost like having that Grant denim feel to it, only it's like rougher than that. And I don't like how that feels. I imagine that's to keep moisture from getting into the padding itself and breaking it apart. But at the end of the day, it's very tight on the inside. And it doesn't have strong grips if you're doing things like Muay Thai or kickboxing that involves the clinch at all, or MMA sparring. For me, it's a very stiff glove. And I have broke these in. The padding is pretty hard too compared to the other gloves. The Essential glove actually broke in very easily. The core broke in very easily. These did not, and I don't know why. But the padding still feels very stiff for me. It feels like it did not break in that much. I'd put it on the firm scale as far as softness goes, meaning that the scale kind of looks like, you know, soft, medium, medium firm, firm goes firm, right? It's very firm, I would say. Very hard padding. Protects your knuckles very well. Going into the positives of the glove, it might be tight in the hands and it might not have the best wrist support, but the knuckle padding is still very good, and that's because Sanabul uses the IMF Tech stuff. The IMF Tech foam that we talk about, which is basically that solid piece of foam that they inject gel with, and that's what you have here. Virtually everything Sanabul has is that gel type of foam, and that's what you have going on here. So the knuckle protection is actually pretty good with this glove. That's where it's saving graces. But for me, that's about where the positives end. I don't like the wrist support. I don't like the comfort of the glove because it's very not comfortable for me. And in general, it's just stiff. And I don't like that it's so stiff. I wish it broke in a little bit easier. So if you were to ask me if I were going to recommend these to people, I mean, sure, if you want some gloves that are cloth or something like that, or if, you know, you like the look of the glove and they are inexpensive compared to some other gloves out there that have really cool designs, $35, it's about $5 more than what you get the Essentials for. I would tell you to get the Essentials. I tell you to get Ringside IMF Tech gloves. I tell you to get the Sanabul cores over these, Sanabul Gold Strike, anything by Sanabul but these, which is pretty funny because I really like the MMA sparring glove versions of these gloves, which is really funny to me. But for these, if I were to give them a rating out of 10, I'd give them a 5 out of 10. Almost as low as the Lab Strikes. The only reason why I don't give them that 4 or 3 out of 10 is simply because the price point. The price point is only like $35. If they went for 50 or above, I'd give it a 2 out of 10 because I just would not. If people are like, yeah, they're $50, I'd say don't ever spend $50 again on anything like that. I don't like them personally. You know, like I said, I know these were sent to me. I'm giving you my straightforward, honest review. I do not like these gloves. There are some gloves out there that Sanabul has that are great. These are not one of them, unfortunately. But sometimes even the most successful brands out there are going to have a dud. But like I said, just because I dislike them doesn't mean that I have 2 teammates that use them that really do like them. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all up to, you know, kind of your perception on the glove. But for me, I didn't enjoy them. I think the maintenance is going to be too difficult, especially for a beginner. I think more people are going to buy these because of the look rather than the performance. And I definitely think that, you know, the knuckle protection is good, which is great, but the wrist support's not that good, and the hand compartment for me is just rough, rugged, and tight on my hand, and I do not like that. And it could be because I have bigger hands than most, but I'm not sure. I don't think they make 18 ounces. You have 4 different colors to pick from, which is good, but they basically look the same in a lot of ways. And you have a couple different sizes to pick from in 10, 12, 14, and 16 ounces, which is good. And like I said, for $35, $36 on Sanabul's website, I think Amazon for some reason sells them for 40, around that. But still, for $40, I would still recommend maybe get something a little bit better for cheaper, even like the Sanabul Essential. I would definitely say the Sanabul Essentials are better than these, in my opinion. But like I said, the comment section is always open, is always open to you guys. I get hit in the head, don't make fun of me. The comment section is always open to you guys, especially if you have these gloves and you like them. Comment below and tell me why. Tell me why you think I'm wrong, or tell me why I should maybe give these gloves maybe even more time. Maybe I didn't give them enough time. I swear I did. I put weeks. I actually used these more than I did the other ones because I really wanted to see if I was missing something with them. But in my opinion, I don't think I did. I just, in general, did not really enjoy using these gloves. So I give them a 5 out of 10. And I put them in my D tier, which is poor. I do not like them. But with that said, guys, we're already at 8.7 thousand subscribers, so close to 9, and then eventually we're going to get to 10. It's all because of you guys. So please like, comment, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. They're small clicks for you, but it means a lot for the channel. But above all, I want you to comment for the next review that you want to see me do. We are working ourselves through the Sanabul mini marathon for the next couple of days. Probably the next week we'll have a whole bunch of Sanabul reviews, but I will read your I'll read your subscriptions. I'll read your comments below, and I will make reviews off of what you comment. I also have some other gloves that are in the works as well. I've been getting ready for this marathon for a little bit. But with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. As always, thank you for watching your source of combat sports, the Combat Corporation. I've been your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and as always, I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.